Hi kids, Uncle Jesse here. Welcome to Storytime with Jesse. Thanks for joining me today. Today's topic, since I've been editing the last of my 3 books, I thought I'd talk about editing and my process of writing drafts. So everybody does this a little differently, but here's how I do it. I start with an outline. Not everybody starts with an outline. A lot of you are called pantsers. If anybody doesn't know what that is, it's somebody who writes by the seat of their pants. They don't have a plan, they just start and they write and write and write and they see where it goes. And for some people that works. For me, I don't like that because I feel like when I'm writing I'm trying to build a house. I need to start with a blueprint, I need to lay a foundation, I need to build the support beams, and I need to build it up. So I start with an outline. So once I do the outline, I'll move on to my rough draft. Some people start, they call it a first draft. Once they finish typing it out, they type the end, they say, oh, I finished my first draft. Not me. My first draft is what I show to people. When I first finish the writing and everything is all rough and messy, that's my rough draft. Nobody sees that but me, from my eyes only. So what I'll do is, I'll finish the rough draft and then I'll put it away for like a couple weeks, or maybe even more. But after a couple weeks, I'm really itching to get back to it. But you really need to give yourself some time after you write without looking at it at all, so that when you come back to it, you have fresh eyes. So I'll write the I'll write the rough draft, put it away, come back to it after a couple weeks, and I'll go through and edit. And that's mostly going to be copy editing, proofreading kind of stuff. So I'm looking for typos, I'm fixing grammar stuff, I'm adjusting some sentences that the wording is a little weird, and I just make it presentable. It's still nowhere near done, but it's at least readable for other people. So once I do that, that's what I call the first draft. The first version that's showable to people. So the next step is I send the first draft out to the internet. Right? I've got my list of beta readers, and I've got 3 great editors who I trust, and I send it out to all of them. And I send it out to as many people as I can. I don't want only a couple opinions. I just try to send it out to like 10, 15 people, because you have to assume that at least a couple of those people are going to flake out on you, and they're just going to say, oh yeah, I'll read it, and then 3-4 months later, they still haven't read it yet. Right? So I send it to as many people as I can. Some family members, some friends, some people I've just met online and I don't know them, but they're either writing aficionados or they're readers, they love horror, that kind of thing. So I just send it to everybody. Now once I've sent it to everyone, get out of here, bug. Once I've sent it to everyone, once again it's going to be a process of waiting, because people don't just read it and get back to you with great notes overnight. It could take like a couple weeks. Even for the quicker readers that you send it to, you wait a couple weeks before you get feedback. Some people it's like a few months, some people never get back to you. But in any case, I send out that first draft and I wait. And it's, maybe a month before I start getting feedback from people. Now in that month, I'm not just sitting around twiddling my thumbs, I'm working on something new. I'm writing new short stories, or maybe I'm working on the new novel, whatever it is, but I'm just not working on the novel that I've sent out to people, right? So after I get a few responses in from my beta readers, maybe like 2 or 3 responses, I start comparing the notes, seeing, okay, these are the things that people are commenting on that they have in common. These are things that everybody seems to agree on. Once I get some feedback like that, I'll go back in and I'll work on the second draft, right? And that's getting into more story-related stuff. I'm not focusing so much on the spelling, grammar, that kind of thing. I'm just working on the storytelling. So I'll do another draft like that. Once again, put it aside, wait, come back a couple weeks later, start working on a new draft. So by this point, feedback is starting to come in. Now I have feedback from like 5 or 6 or more beta readers. I get feedback from my editors. Now I got 3 people who really send me like detailed notes as far as grammar and syntax and storytelling and all the little nitpicky kind of stuff. Then I have some people who are just like, yeah man, it's great, I totally love it. And, they give me very vague feedback, and that's fine, but whatever. I'm looking for as much info as I can before I start working on the next drafts. I usually write maybe like 5 or 6 drafts total, And by the 5th draft, it's usually just about done. And then what I do is I'll take the manuscript and I'll put it over into Vellum, the formatting software. Once it's in Vellum, it becomes the final draft, right? I'm once again reading through every page. I'm maybe breaking up paragraphs. I'm looking to see, are there any last minute little typos that I missed? Are there any sentences that could be cleaned up a little bit? I'll also leave certain things to the end, like details. Like if someone's taking a medicine and I'm writing and I don't feel like looking up exactly what kind of medicine they'll be writing, I'll say the character popped a parentheses medicine in his mouth, and I'll know that when I read that later, okay, now I have to go back in and look up that medicine and punch that in. Or if a character picks up a certain kind of gun and I want it to be a very specific gun, I don't necessarily write all that in, but I'll just write he picked up his parentheses gun, and then I'll go back later and I'll go through all the parentheses and I'll, specify all that kind of thing. So once I'm in Vellum, I'm specifying everything, I'm doing the final checks, and by that point it's usually like the 5th or 6th draft. Sometimes I'll do like 8 drafts depending on what kind of notes I get from people. But I don't like to do too many drafts, I think it's already, by the first draft I send out, it's already pretty good. It's just a question of polishing and sanding all the rough edges. And if it's more than that, if you need to do major structural rewrites, I think you've kind of gotten off on the wrong foot to begin with. But that's me. That's just how I do it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm Jesse D'Angelo. If you like, you can hit subscribe, you can share, hit the like button, and I will see you next week for more Pearls of Wisdom. Thank you.